So today I'm going to go over the notes on the Industrial Revolution in question and answer format again. So this should be my second to last video on the midterm review stuff, so I'm going to do another one probably once we get to imperialism, but I figured might as well do something now. So let's begin. What was the Industrial Revolution? A peaceful revolution which changed the manner in which goods were produced and influenced the cultural, political, and economic development of the world. What are the main causes of the Industrial Revolution? Agrarian Revolution, geographic advantages, labor supply, modern infrastructure, advanced commercial skills, expansive empire, and mercantilism. What was some of the new technology of the Agrarian Revolution? Seed drill by Jethro Tull, fertilizers, irrigation systems, enclosure movements, and crop rotation. What are some geographic advantages of England? So it's an island. It has an irregular coastline, rich deposits of coal and iron, and navigable rivers. What revolution improved Britain's commercial skills? So the commercial revolution, pretty easy. What are entrepreneurs? Individuals who are willing to take risks to organize, manage, and start new businesses. Name the textile inventions of the Industrial Revolution in order. There's a flying shuttle, spinning jenny, water frame, spinning mule, power loom, and the cotton gin. Who invented the flying shuttle? John Kay. Who invented the spinning jenny? James Hargreaves. Who invented the water frame? Richard Arkwright. Who invented the spinning mule? Samuel Crompton. Who invented the power loom? Owen Cartwright. Who invented the cotton gin? Eli Whitney. What are three results from the improvement in the textile industry? So number one, better quality materials produced at a cheaper rate increased the demand for goods, which led to an increase in workforce. Two, large machines forced production to be changed from happening in the homes to happening in the factories. And number three, each new invention spurred another invention to complete it. Name the transportation improvements in order. Steam engine, steamboat, roads, and locomotive. Who invented the steam engine? James Watt. Who invented the steamboat? Robert Fulton. Who improved the roads? John Maxim. Who invented the locomotive? Richard Trevithick. What are three results of improvement in transportation? So goods transported less expensively. Goods could reach further markets, increasing demand for agricultural and finished goods. And new jobs were created in a new area. So there were coal mines, iron mines, and laying track. Those are all good jobs. What are 7 miscellaneous inventions to know? There's the wheat reaper, the telegraph, the foot-operated sewing machine, the radio, the telephone, the light bulb, and the assembly line. So who invented the wheat reaper? Cyrus McCormick. Who invented the telegraph? Samuel Morse. Who invented the sewing machine? I.M. Singer. Who invented the radio? Guglielmo Marconi. Who invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. Who invented the light bulb? Thomas Edison. Who invented the assembly line? Henry Ford. Where was the Industrial Revolution in the first stage? So it was in England, parts of northern U.S., in Dur Valley, Germany, and in Bohemia, Moscow, and St. Petersburg, Russia. Where did it expand to in the second stage? The U.S., Japan, and continental Europe, aka Germany. What was a barrier to industrialization in Germany? Political disunity. What was a barrier to industrialization in France? The French Revolution. What was a barrier to industrialization in in Spain/Austria-Hungary, the mountains. What were the main results of the Industrial Revolution? There's quite a few. So the factory system replaced the domestic system. There's changing working conditions, growth of the middle class, change in lifestyles, urbanization, imperialism, competing social philosophies, and Europe gains an advantage in political and economic wealth compared to other areas. What type of economy is laissez-faire capitalism? Market economy. Describe a market economy. So economic decisions are made by individuals based on the law of supply and demand. So what does laissez-faire mean? The government keeps its hands off. Capitalism is blank-oriented, profit-oriented. What is a poor urban worker called? Proletariat. Name two contributors to laissez-faire capitalism. Adam Smith and Thomas Malthus. What did Adam Smith write? The Wealth of Nations. What did he believe? Without government involvement in the economy, producers would make what the customers wanted, and the customers would get what they want, and social harmony would be created. So, it's a pretty big claim. What did Thomas Malthus write? Essay on the Principle of Population. What does he say in Malthusian theory? So, excess population is destined to be poor. The world's population will eventually get to be too big, leading to mass starvation and poverty. So that's pleasant, but didn't really happen that way. This hasn't happened yet. So, name four early socialists. Herbert, Saint-Simon, Proudhon, and Fourier. I don't know if I said that right, but what else? So, what are some beliefs of socialism? So the government should actively plan the economy, control the factors of production for the benefit of all. Name two thinkers of utilitarianism. Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. What did Jeremy Bentham believe? People should judge the products of society based on their usefulness. And the government's role is to promote the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. What did John Stuart Mill believe? That workers shouldn't be miserable in order to produce wealth, and the government should help redistribute the wealth a little. So, who founded Utopianism? Robert Owen. What did he believe? People should create self-sufficient communities where all factors are shared. What did he do? So, he created the town of New Lanark in Scotland, and provided for his factory workers. So he had his own factory and then made living places for them. And he tried to found New Harmony in Indiana, but it didn't really work because no one would sell them the supplies needed because they wanted to have a less utopian society, if you say it like that. So, what is Marxism also called? Communism or Bolshevism? Name two communists. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. What two things did Karl Marx write? And Friedrich Engels helped with one of them. So there's a Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital. So what is a Communist Manifesto? Pamphlet for Workers by Marx and Engels. What was Das Kapital? It was a book on Marx's view of history and plan for society. Actually, I think it was a few books, but whatever. Marx said that history could be viewed as blank and blank. So it could be viewed as a struggle between warring classes for means of production. So you can see that with like the proletariat versus the plebeian versus the patrician, slave versus master, stuff like that. That was what they put in the book. And it could also be seen as manipulation of the lower classes whose labor produces the means of wealth for the upper classes, yet sees no profit. So the poor people are basically just being exploited so that the rich can get richer, which you can kind of see sometimes, but whatever. So what is the surplus value theory? The price of the product minus the cost of the labor equals the surplus value. So that's why Marx said that they would have such awful living conditions and not pay their workers at all so that they can make more money, which is true. That's kind of what they did. So, what are the three main stages of the Marxist revolution according to Marx? So, revolution of the proletariat, dictatorship of the proletariat, and pure communism. What would happen in the revolution of the proletariat? So, the factories would drive all skilled artisans out of business, and the proletariat would eventually get fed up with it and start a revolution and seize all factors of production. So what would happen in the dictatorship of the proletariat? So the proletariat would seize the government and redistribute all of the wealth and resources and re-educate, aka brainwash, the population that was conditioned to want private property and capitalism. What would happen in pure communism? So all factors of production and wealth would be shared by all. Therefore, the government would not be needed and would dissipate. What are the four flaws of Marxism? So it doesn't recognize that power is corrupting and absolute power is absolutely corrupting. So he didn't expect that the dictators would not step down when it was time. And number two, he says that the revolution will take place in urban industrial societies. Well, it actually happens in more rural agrarian societies. And that kind of leads up to number three, is he dismissed the peasants as too religious and too spread out, and he called religion the opioid of the masses. So that was fun. I guess I'm an addict. But that was one thing, is he underestimated the peasantry. And the other thing is Das Kapital doesn't really account for the forces that made history, like religion and nationalism. What is Darwinism based on? Charles Darwin. Oh, I should say who, but whatevs. What is the belief of social Darwinism, which is used by capitalists? So they believe that humans evolve through natural selection, and less abled, aka less evolved, humans fail to succeed, aka become poor. So everyone who's poor, they just not as evolved as the rich people. But they are. That's so awful. Okay, this makes me sad. So, what other reforms came out of the Industrial Revolution? So, unemployment. So, there is a union movement, which involved collective bargaining, like strikes, stuff like that. So, there's democracy movement, the abolition movement, and the prison reform movement. So, I hope that helps. And for the record, I'm not saying I believe in any of these specific things. I'm just trying to say what's in the book. So I hope that helped, and good luck on the midterm.